blink push. That was awesome yesterday.
Yeah, that was up against Reno and the winner bracket. And he opened that series with a victory. So definitely, definitely expect MaNa to come in fighting and swinging here. As on the top right-hand side from the Shopify Rebellion, the red Zerg is Lambo.
And in the bottom left side of the map, the blue Protoss player, it's MaNa. Sometimes I think MaNa's like 43 years old because he's just been competing for such a long time. And then I remember that he started competing when he was like 7. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's actually way younger than I am. Yeah, he was playing Warcraft 3 from a young age. Obviously, he won his first DreamHack, and I think it was still Wings of Liberty in like Bucharest. I think was his first kind of win. And he's always had these moments where even when I remember there's a period in like 2015, people were like, oh, I think MaNa might be washed, and bam, came out and had like a massive finals over there in Poland up against Lil Bao, big PvP finals. And he's just had these moments where he always pops up and just destroys a bunch of the top players and shows he's able to compete with the best. Even now, as a man who's out there just making YouTube videos, doing fun challenges, and being an entertaining content creator half the time, he's still got that flair and that skill as a player.
It's really cool to see him play because, again, he's one of these guys that preps. He always has fun stuff. He's not just, you never quite know exactly what's going to be, and he will play the longer games. He'll play the shorter games. He will not be afraid to mix it up at all. So, absolutely a kind of player that can mix it up, do everything, and that obviously makes it very entertaining to watch. Entertaining to watch could be the name of this game because there's a forward hatchery down on that Ridge Vespine base. Not only are you going to get easier access to that gas, but you are also going to have potential to push off of that with forward creep spread and go into some big attacks early on. So it's a possibility for Lambo by taking this base over here, and something that MaNa has to keep somewhat a bit of an eye on, a bit of a thought about, because he doesn't want to get caught with his pants down with a big old Roach Ravage, a Queen Push or so coming his way early.
If there's any adjustment I think I'd like to see MaNa make from yesterday, it's just slightly better unit positioning. Yesterday he had an Adept out of his wall off, like just completely out to the side. Yeah, and
the hero wall.
Zealot, he had the hero wall. The unit's like not even standing anywhere near it. But then at his third base, in two different occasions, he had like Zealots and Adepts kind of get surrounded. So I'd like to see, I know it's such a small thing, and Reyna's the guy who's definitely going to punish you for that. Like Reyna is one of these players who has this magical effect of finding those mistakes, which you normally don't even realize you're making. It's just lings are everywhere when you're playing against him. But that is one small adjustment I'd like to see in MaNa's play. Now, of course, MaNa did not repeat the build from yesterday. He knew Lambo would have studied it, respects Lambo's ability to prepare. I mean, we all know Lambo's possibly the greatest preparation player. Maybe Rogue's up there with him. Definitely those two being the top Zergs. Anyone who hasn't watched Lambo's video he did years ago about that grand finals he played against Serral and going through his thought process and his planning and his mind games, that was when I truly realized the depths of Lambo's preparation and understanding of his opponents. I mean, this man, he always knows exactly your habits on every map, and he's looking to punish him.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the smarter players out there. Is our Robo facility going to come down as a follow-up to the Oracle? So, MaNa showing us that Robo right now as we do see the Lings looking to get a grab on this Adept, and it's just not enough. Adept Shade is good to keep that alive. It gets behind, and now we have an Oracle. Still lurking on the other side. There's a Twilight that is a typical kind of accompaniment to the Robo at this sort of time as well. So, we get ourselves set up from this Oracle opener into the transition without anything too crazy in play.
Oracle sliding around the back. Let's see what he can find. 2 queens. Should be able to get a drone. Goes for the second. Oh, going for the third. A little greedy there. It does take a lot of damage, but 2 drones ain't too bad. And it's not like he's deep in the red. He's still got 43 hit points. And, ooh, bonus discount deal. Oh, no way. 4 drones. That's huge.
Wow, that's actually a really nice grab. So something a little extra at the very end there. Gonna go the way of MaNa, and he is just gonna get himself some really good damage dealt. Obviously, Temple Archives, 2 extra gateways coming up. The Prism is over halfway done here, as well as Overlords and the Spore continuing through. And this Oracle still coming back down to the bottom left-hand side.
Is this just a straight Charge Lord Archon timing, or is MaNa doing something a little different? Is he just... He's got a Robo. No, he's not building Observer or Immortal. This does look like it's a... an Archon drop. Potentially just Archon drop into Immortal. Damn, man. Christiana getting that that motivation going for the Protoss players, saying, guys, you can still do it. Just Archon drop into Storm Immortal, solid style.
Made us believe a little bit after yesterday. A few High Templars started to warp in. The Adept's going to pull back. We are going to be
missing a warp in?
Yeah, missing one High Templar currently. Oh, he only has 3 gates. The 4th gate isn't finished. There we go.
Just finished transforming. Fair enough. Third base comes down. It's a later third base when you open up with this style, but you can see that Lambo has to build a lot of units. 7 Roaches, 6 Queens, lots of Zerglings. So it does keep the worker count pretty even between the two, and if your Archons can pick up some value, then all the better. I love how Lambo's hit his Overlords around the map, by the way. That's why I hope the Archons go back and clean that up after, but for now, good damage.
Yeah, it gets in with those initially. The Queens will put a bit of damage out onto that Prism as it does slip up the sides and into this main base. Just going to be able to get away there. And we do have the few Roaches. Just going to keep track of that Prism. Try and make sure it doesn't even get the chance to unload the first time, as be careful to spawn a Queen there. Last thing you want to be flying into is anything that would actually kill this Prism. You've got to be careful of that for sure.
Hydrogen's on the way for Lambo. Old school, man. Rainer did this against MaNa yesterday as well, so maybe players realizing that MaNa sometimes just plays a little light on units, and they think, oh, I can just overwhelm with Roach Hydra. But that worked against him when he was playing Blinkstalker Psystorm. He's playing Immortal Archon, which is a pretty solid style, especially if he adds Storm to back it up. If you have like a few High Templar with Storm, a good Immortal count, it's really hard to break through, and he's getting a second Robo. MaNa's strategy I really like.
I do as well. I like that it's a bit different. It's not quite the everyday. And yeah, with the second Robo as well, really going to power up some Robo units. I'm about it, man. You know what? You're fairly safe to do this. You're pretty much walled into your 3 bases until the Zerg gets onto the map to clean out rocks, but they can't do that right now without you knowing about it, because this Archon drop is keeping perfect tabs on everything the Zerg is doing. So now we see Storm added on as well. That's going to be the next step for MaNa with that double Robo production about to start up too.
I'd like to see some stasis traps set up, and also I'm wondering where MaNa takes the 4th. I think he's going to go for the rich gas base in the middle. I like the Storm in that. He did lose an Observer though, and he's got to be careful not to lose this Prism. I see games like this where I go, this looks great for Protoss, but they don't really realize the Zerg's going all in. Like, that's a late 4th. He should know there's a big Zerg push coming already. He finds this Overlord, which is great. Like, he's just got to turtle up and survive on 3 base. The thing is, a lot of the times you see them just get caught out, the Prism dies, Roach Hydra's on top of them, the Oracle goes down, it gets F2'd home, and suddenly everything falls apart! Oh.
Yeah, that's rough, as now the Archon gets chased and Lambo is on this side, and, well, gonna start knocking at the front doorstep, and these few Hydra will pack a big punch, but just a few moments before Storm is ready to go, and you have 2 High Templar that may be building up the energy to do something with this. Just Roach, Hydra, Ravager at the front door, and obviously the front door gets open. It's going to be a much easier time for Lambo to attack into this. A couple of force fields coming down. We actually contaminate the Templar Archives, by the way, so Storm is paused. So never mind that being on the front doorstep to being done. And I don't think MaNa necessarily knows, because he just brought his High Templars forward looking to Storm. Yeah, great Templar Archive contaminate. Fantastic from Lambo on that regard.
The Immortals hold pretty well though. You know, you lose your wall off. The trading's not good to start. I mean, imagine if he had a Prism and a few Archons alive as well, or if the Oracle had thrown down some extra stasis traps to back this up. As it is, he might just barely get overwhelmed. He's got to save the Storms until Lambo shoves. Like, just save those Storms until Lambo's really exposed, but his numbers are so low. Lambo's positioning is so good. He's in the natural now. The Hydra spread is there. This forces MaNa to engage. MaNa does not want to fight right now, and one of the Robos has been depowered. It's going to go down. Robo is one of the weakest tech structures in the game, and it does fall very quickly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just a beautiful little push in from Lambo. Taking it slow and steady and just slowly kind of getting closer and closer to the base without having to make any sort of crazy major move. You see a couple Crows of Vars dropping in, pushing those Immortals back. Storm's coming down onto the Ravagers, onto the Hydras, etc. Oh. I mean, that's neat and all, but we're going to lose the base, and we're going to lose a lot of units in the process as well.
I mean, this is a situation I'm very used to seeing in MaNa games, is him just taking these epic Storms, great micro engagements, but he's doing it when he's already down 70-80 supply, you know? And I go, oh my god, this is clutch micro from him. It's just, he's already a bit too far behind, and the Oracle not keeping tabs on Lambo's move outs. I think if we have to boil this down, what's the biggest, like, mistake that put MaNa in this situation? I think when he saw how late the 4th was, he needed to keep that Oracle in the middle of the map, kind of patrolling, tagging the Zerg army, so that he was never surprised by the move out. But the moment that surprise move out gets you, it's just such a spiraling effect, because without the Prism to juggle Immortals, without the Archons backing you up, suddenly you're just so close to dying. You don't really have time to warp in more High Templar and get more Storms. It's basically a counter roll in here, a couple of Immortals, Archons, and Zealots. He's catching some Roach Hydra out, taking a surprisingly good fight, but his main is being breached at the same time.
Yeah, he is one final push, basically, but these Roaches are going to guarantee that it's one final push on top of it, and MaNa does not have much reinforcement behind it. Lambo can obviously give up this forward base if he needs to. The damage he's done across the map has ensured that he can take his time about this defense if that's what he needs to do. As the Immortal Archon Zal continues up, we see the Queens, the Hydras, all getting pushed around, pushed back for the moment. All of that coming in. And, well, it feels like it's just a matter of time. We're even going to pull a few drones into this as well. As part of this fight, just to guarantee that we have got everything we need, and they are just doing some tanking, adding some damage, getting the GG. Lambo is going to be victorious here for game number 1.
Keeping it simple. Roach Hydra timing attack. Not a bad way to do it. You know, I think sometimes players, we make Zerg versus Protoss overcomplicated. And sometimes just hitting a simple, crisp timing attack is the way to do it. And a lot of the time, the Protoss players kind of go, ooh, he's making Hydras. That means he's heading to Lurkers and Vipers and double Evo Chamber. No, he's literally just making Roach Hydra, and he's going to try to kill you. And it's hard to figure it out because, of course, if you don't see the lack of drones and that sort of stuff, it's hard to weigh in. You've also got to take into account, it's not like with a normal, like, Oracle Blink game versus, like, standard macro. You forced a lot of units out early. The timings are a bit different and odd, so it's a little harder to read. When should that fourth base be down? You know, when should Lambo have drones on that fourth base? And I think just a little bit of extra safety precaution there for MaNa, like I said, with the Oracle checking the middle of the map and being very careful with the Archon drop after a certain point was very necessary.
Well, we get to Golden Ore for game number 2, and we'll see if MaNa has a different approach build order-wise. He definitely has been quite creative with his builds across the course of previous PVZs. Another map here, which I would not really kind of expect kind of like more aggressive pushes on when it comes to what Lambo does. Obviously, Crimson Court, deeper in the game, yes, pushing forwards can be pretty decent because it's that one avenue, but Golden Aura definitely seems to make that a little bit tougher. Let's see what goes down in the bottom right. Unfortunately, down a map and trying to bring it back. It is going to be our Blue Protoss player from Team Liquid, MaNa.
The man in the top left side of the map, though, great preparation in that last game and an overwhelming Roach Hydra timing. Let's see what he's got for us in map 2. It's Lambo. Lambo is not only the master of preparation, he is the master of tiny details, you know? He is the master of just looking at all the little seconds and timing things out. Lambo can hit you with stuff way faster than a lot of other players can. I've always felt like if Lambo, a brain like his was just devoted to like coaching and not playing, he would be the best Zerg coach by far in the world. I don't think anyone else could contest that. I think his knowledge is so deep on Zerg and Zerg matchups in general. It's something where he comes in with just little adjustments and always really good reads on his opponents as well. Not just his own build orders being tight, it's the tiniest bit of info. He will draw conclusions several minutes down the line on what you're going to do next because he knows your habits. So there's something to be said for being almost like chaotically unpredictable against him, making it so that his like very logical reads don't necessarily work.
Yeah, you know, when you listen to him, I mean, I cast with him a few times, right? And he's always such a pleasure to cast with because, God, I learned so much. I'm like, you know, I take a couple notes and say, I'm going to say that next time I see this. Because he does, like you say, have such a deep understanding. He always has, a reason why something is taking place. He always has that kind of background understanding of like, well, he typically likes this, but because he saw that, this is going on instead. So you're right, maybe like, you kind of shut your eyes and, throw a dart at the dartboard and it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do this and then that. And maybe you kind of don't make it make sense and you get Lambo confused a little bit, or make his reads work against him, right? Maybe that's the approach to getting under his skin, and then he's like, because he's so confident in what he sees, that then maybe he gets a bit too all in on that specific thing, and it's not that, then he's in trouble.
You saying that makes me want to see like a best of 21 of like peak form Haas against peak form Lambo, just to see what happens there. Because like I do think Lambo should have the answers, but I also know he'd be like infuriated every time he loses. And Haas would just throw so many crazy cheeses and bits of misdirection at him. It'd be fascinating to see. But that is, of course, besides the point. Right now we've got MaNa here, double chrono on the Adepts. It's one of the things which I feel like I don't know. I want to give Showtime credit for this, but obviously it goes in and out. But recently, it's way back. The double chronoed adept is so popular again, and I feel like in Europe, he was the one who for ages was just like every game double chrono adepts, and he'd be like, I don't care if I kill only 2 drones, that's fine. I'll throw these away to kill like 2 Zerglings in a drone. He's like, as long as I'm forcing Zerg to make 10, 12 Zerglings early, messing up their opening, I'll be happy to get in there. Look at that, already gets a drone. Hey, this is great. Oh, the drone didn't have space to build the Spore Crawler. Almost got a third, but I think 2 drones is already great.
Absolutely, 2 drones, and that's just the first adept as well. I think we take this.
As long as you don't lose this one.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary to lose that one because you already did the damage with the first. These Lings are going to get the catch on it though, so yeah, unfortunately it's not quite as great as it should have been for MaNa. I mean, he was just bringing this one across. He's like, well, typically we use the second one, but in this case he really didn't need to.
Lings coming in, and the depths are solid. If you want to send that first Oracle across, it does delay your third base, so... Oh, good Adept Shade to pull back behind the wall off. Should be able to keep the Adept alive, but no, he was a bit too slow to shuffle it inside the gap. Oracle does dive in on the other side of the map, grabs 1 drone only, and that is unfortunate. Oracle takes heavy damage. Gateway is taking a lot of damage on the natural as well. You do not want to lose that Gateway, but I think it's going to go down.
It does indeed fall, so Gateway falls, and that is just another nice pickup for Lambo, right? You're not meant to kill a Gateway this early in the game, and that means that MaNa only has 1 gate to produce from for the foreseeable future. It's an extra bit of money you gotta spend to reset your gate count. Just not great.
No, Lambo should feel confident. Seeing the Twilight Forge is huge. Now he knows he can just drone. He's got an Evo Chamber on the way to go for fast +1 melee. Especially if he sees the gases in the natural, which I think he may have seen this game, then he actually is in a great spot. MaNa finally going to find some damage. That's well done. The Spore Crawler didn't get retargeted, so he's shooting the healthier Oracle. 5 drones go down. Slight miscontrol from Lambo there. Fantastic harassment from MaNa.
The more this harass comes through, the better off he looks for the rest of this game, as Lambo has to spend time rebuilding the drones. And here's on the back of that harass, you see kind of great kind of scenarios build from the Protoss players. The Oracle's a little bit trapped in for the moment, but they're in no necessarily kind of immediate rush to get out. Nothing's happening here that's overly aggressive, and Lambo starts a melee upgrade, indicating his kind of game plan for the future at least. MaNa going +1 in Blink, and might be able to get a bit aggressive off of that. He's taking the 3rd base, so if he gets going with the Blink and tries to play Denial on that 4th base, it could be very, very cool. Especially as Lambo's taking some damage, has to replace drones. He may not have quite the numbers needed to really keep his 4th base in the most safest of positions.
Classic Ravagerling Bane game by the looks of it. Could be Hydraling Bane if he wants to, but with such a late layer, that would be a bizarre choice. I definitely think we'll probably see Ravagerling Bane. That being said, on this map, I mean, Ultras is also great, especially against Blink, right? The second Evo style where you go up for quick Ultras can be fantastic. Templar Archives comes in. Ah, okay. So I thought we'd see Colossus, but it looks like a Stalker Storm for MaNa. He did favor that when he was in the top spawn yesterday against Raynor. Got overwhelmed by Roach Hydra that game. This time playing Ravagerling Bane, I think he'll be happy with that matchup.
Yeah, the Ling Bane obviously really melting to Storm, and something that you're very happy to see against your kind of investment. Hatchery comes down as Lambo looks towards base number 5. The Blink about to be done. Prism coming up, so if we are going to see a poke forward, this would be it. The Lair is about to finish up on Lambo's side of the map, which means that he's going to have himself a little bit of tech there as well, so he can set up into further upgrades. And he is actually going to drop the Hydrogen down, so he puts that in immediately and just keeps his composition a-rolling.
He's not going to have Hydra upgrades finished till like 9 minutes. This is a very late Hydra Den. They are a little faster than they used to be, and the Hydra Den also builds way quicker than a lot of other tech structures. Like you can see, it's already past halfway done. Oracles will defend these Stalkers. Nice little bit of pressure. Storm is on the way, and he's going Roach speed, so it's a no Baneling style. Fascinating. This really, with the +1 melee, looked like it was going to be a very Zergling Baneling focus style. Stalkers do go a little deep, though. Stasis Trap's going to save most of the Stalkers. Only one does go down.
It's nice to see those Stalkers obviously able to hold their own, and we get the 4th Nexus done because Lambo's busy dealing with this. It's hard to commit into, you know, a run by or anything when you've just got to focus on defending on your front doorstep. So MaNa utilizing that well, but well, I said it was going to be difficult. He actually does find the moment to get the Lings across the map, so that's a wraparound. That's probably a cancelled 4th. A few extra Zealots warping in. It's not going to come freely for Lambo, as obviously he has to, you know, have those Zealots swinging at him, but he does get the cancel, slows the fourth down. The Stalkers came home too, so Lambo going to take a lot of this situation apart and just make this chill out a little as more Ravagers get set, and Ling Roach Ravager Hydra is going to come down at the bottom right here and try and go for a little bit of a larger push, but units are there. He doesn't have Roach speed yet even, so he doesn't really want to be here.
Yeah, watching slow Roaches and slow Zealots at 8.5 minutes face off in the middle of the map is a little bit bizarre. It's watching guys with broomsticks, you know, facing off in a medieval battlefield. Roach Hydra is going to come forward. First storm was good. Second storm also pretty good, but you don't have any more storm energy behind this. He's going to throw one more. Great big juicy storm. Very well done. Does save all 3 High Templar. Great micro by MaNa so far, but he's dealing with himself being at a massive, massive numbers disadvantage. The Stalkers are there. Great prison micro though. MaNa hanging on off of that clutch micro. He's down 40 army supply, but his army is higher value, especially if that Nexus finishes. He can battery overcharge. I love the stasis traps in reserve as well. If he can keep the Archons alive, keep those to the back, that would be fantastic. Not to mention, Storm will come off, not cooldown, but the energy will regenerate for it soon enough.
Gonna come back up the other ramp here. Lambo trying to find a way to break through, feeling this timing, but they're right. Once Storm gets back here, these Hydras aren't going to be long for this world, and that is not going to be pretty. There are a couple of Storms. They didn't hit everything, so Lambo still has a good sizable amount to come forward with. The High Templar's now gone as well. The Ling popping the stasis wards also allows you to get up here more easily. MaNa's going to split apart. He does have new High Templars coming in from the natural, so he will have more Storms, and that is going to be a big part of this, as Lambo will just refuse to stop from coming through with reinforcements.
Using Storm Drop is very creative here. I don't think you necessarily need to use it just to defend, but I like the way he's trying to punish whenever Lambo clumps up and like moves between angles, and that's where he's trying to land those big money storms to get more value. Hive is on the way as well as the Lurker, and 75 workers against 70. Still rotating around looking for the damages. Lambo, he does take a big storm on those Hydras and Ravages. Quite a few Hydras and Ravages fall, but another High Templar drops way too deep and he loses it. And it's losing these High Templar that's costing MaNa. His early part of the fight before he started moving out with the Storm Drops was way more efficient. He was 2-to-1 efficient. Now he's bleeding out a lot of units. I feel like MaNa could be getting miles ahead here. I think he's still getting ahead. It's good holds, but I think if he was just a little bit more patient on the defense, he could have shut that down even harder.
Roaches, Hydras, Lings continue through. We are just going to be seeing the High Templar still pushing in with this Prism, and so Lambo gonna get shoved back. Now Hydra's coming up, Lurker as well. It's a while until those Lurkers are gonna be full strength as these High Templars in the front again. We'll lose the Archon that they morph into. And we do have another big warp in though. Does Lambo just have the sheer numbers to survive? I don't think he does. Zealot's gonna hit the backside as well. Yeah, he's in trouble, man.
He went to 92 workers, mate. 92 in the midst of those very bad trades. He's 4,000 resources lost behind the Zealots around the Ravager Hydra. That is slick. Beautiful defense into counterattack here from MaNa. I thought he was getting a little wasteful losing those High Templar, but that was just him sensing that he'd held well enough and he could counterattack and he could crush.
And he's doing exactly that, because the moment he's come across here, it is not a good enough army at all for Lambo. Right side base already going down. Zealots are still swarming over there as we are just going to have everything of Lambo being surrounded. He's got nowhere good to go to. Extra Zealots warping in. That should just be good enough to close this out. MaNa's got a ton of gas, but he just doesn't really need any gas units right now. That is going to be good enough, as we've said a couple times. That is going to do it. MaNa is 1-1 tied up here with Lambo.
That's good. It would be really sucky to lose 2 games in a row to just basically a Roach Hydra push. But this was a much less optimized push, I would say, for Lambo, where, you know, he goes for melee first. It looks like a different opening. The Hydra upgrades are very late. The push itself wasn't hitting a super sharp timing. And him on the other hand, you know, 4th base, good storm defense, great stalker positioning, batteries coming up, stasis traps in reserve. Very good handling of that by MaNa. So I think Lambo is probably going to be switching things up on Oceanborn for map 3. I don't know how exactly you swap that up. It is still a small map, but maybe we just see him, you know, trying to feign aggression a little bit, run forward and go, oh, watch out, I'm being scary. I have a few Hydras, but actually be taking a quick Hive behind it. And I think for MaNa, probably check the 4th base, not just for droning, but how early those gases are. Early gases on the 4th means you really want to gear up for a longer game or hit a sharp timing attack before that Hive tech comes around. Whereas if there isn't as much activity on the 4th and if there's a lot of gases missing, that's going to be a sign. Just turtle up, survive like you did in that last game.
Well, it is time to see if MaNa can keep it going. This Lambo definitely on the aggressive side of things right now. You know, definitely a couple games where he's wanted to be the aggressor, coming across the map. We'll see if he thinks the same again. In the top left, Red Zerg from the Shopify Rebellion. It's Lambo.
And on the bottom right side, a great hold in that last game. Team Liquid's MaNa. Yeah, only adjustment I'd like to see is trying not to lose those High Templar when doing those storm drops, but I do love it because often it does feel like unless the Zerg's really pushing right into your base, they can kind of just run around in a clump. But MaNa was able to do like, no, I'm going to shove forward with my Stalkers and drop High Templar and storm you, whereas normally the High Templar are kind of waddling in from behind. I guess they don't really waddle, they float. They just float so slowly, you know? It's like, guys, can you use your legs? Like, they're like, oh, but I can use magic to levitate. It's like, would you actually be able to Psystorm more often if you weren't wasting psionic energy on that? Could you move faster if you used your legs? Like, what is wrong with you guys? But anyways, the Prism does make up for that, allowing to drop them in range of dropping the spells, and it's a very cute adjustment for the matchup.
Yeah, I never really stopped to think about High Templars floating about. You're right. What a waste of energy, man. Freaking High Templars.
Yeah, you're like, dude, like if I had wizard powers, I wouldn't use it to just float around slowly everywhere. I'd use it to get places faster, but if it's slower than just walking, like what?
What are you guys doing?
Idiots. I knew Protoss were so stupid. He's looking down on us lesser species with our orifices that we use to communicate. Crazy.
What if we could unupgrade a High Templars from floating to just walking?
knowing Protoss lore, it's like, oh no, it's only after a High Templar's been mangled. He was like a zealot that's been mangled in battle, and because his physical
they have no
form can't,
legs.
do stuff. Yeah, his legs don't work. He's paralyzed or something.
We're hitting on these guys for floating, and they actually just can't walk. Maybe where the D-bags.
We're like, no. These guys actually had to spend 7 years studying Protoss magic to learn these abilities. Like this is not their choice. This is like, okay, I fell in battle and now I got to do this. If you're not good at driving robots, you don't get to be like a Stalker or a Dragoon or an Immortal. You just get to learn magic at Protoss version of Hogwarts, I guess.
Well, we do have in this game some choices being made. The Stargate coming down from MaNa, so he's going to get that about halfway done. The Link speed's halfway along as well from Lambo, and those couple of Lings would love to get a grab on that Proby, and they are going to have it. So Probe goes down and will not get away. It gets fully
Wonder
punished.
if we see Void Ray this time. I don't think so. It feels like he's just enjoying Adept Oracle. He tried Void Ray a few times against Raynor, but yeah, it's just Oracle. So goes to show the Void Ray was like MaNa being like, Oracle doesn't go well versus Raynor, but I want to play Void Ray a lot more. Here against Lambo, it seems the opposite, where he feels like Lambo does better versus the Void Ray, whereas the Oracle is more playable. Interesting, just change up, see how a player approaches different opponents.
The Adepts actually going to get caught in by the Lings there, so one of them gets stuck behind. The drones have to go for a big run, but I mean, if you only lose one drone, I think we're pretty okay with that. It is going to come at the cost of 4 Lings, but the drones are the most important. Yes, some lost mining time, but only 1 dead. Lambo should be fairly happy that those Adepts are now gone. With the Oracle obviously being the next thing to look for some drone kills, it's arriving already to the upper left-hand side of the map. So it's in here, a couple Queens on it immediately. Queens on the high ground trying to get there for some extra good times, and that's a lot of damage taken on the Oracle for 1 single drone kill as well.
And those units are at the third. If they can get the pylon, that'd be a nice pick-off. Oracle's about to come out and should be able to save the pylon, but it's going to be heavily damaged for any future waves. Not to mention Oracle has to use that energy defensively. Lings actually could go right back in. They saw the Oracle turn the laser off, but of course Lambo's busy macroing. You don't have unlimited attention to put into that sort of stuff.
You think that MaNa's just going to keep playing the Blink throughout this series?
I think he seems confident with it. I do feel like maybe, yeah. Especially because Lambo's always had very good kind of Queen, Roach, Ravager sort of pushes, so bad way of playing.
It's also +1. Just waiting for the Blink to start as well, so the upgrades do indeed get invested into for the moment. MaNa, third base finished, and of course Lambo just getting his Evo Chamber up, so he's going to opt for that melee upgrade once again. So running it back to game number 2. Getting the melee upgrade here early, going to be very Ling heavy initially. Although that doesn't stop him going into some additional kind of range-based units a bit deeper down the line. You already see the Roach Roaring, but obviously the Hydro Den is a possibility also, just depending on exactly how Lambo wants to get there.
I am enjoying that we're not seeing as much banelings lately. It's been interesting, you know? After so many years of StarCraft 2 to see a few more matchups in this recent meta without the baneling being just such a predominant part of Zerg play.
The baneling was almost a guarantee as well, unless you're playing some very pure Roach, and a lot of the time, more recently, you had to kind of transition out of that into banelings, but yeah, banes are definitely not as necessary, especially early on, as you have our lanes just going to run through. And of course, the Oracles to activate, that's what he was waiting on, as that was a gap in the wall, but Warping comes in now. Oracle's still activated, so they actually get to pick up a couple more kills as the +1 and Blink come through from MaNa. They will be finishing shortly. Robo Facility and a few more probes coming up on the side. And we have the Oracle producing from MaNa as well. Getting all of that going.
Yeah, an extra Oracle, not a bad idea to have a bit more energy, especially when you've had to use so much energy defensively already like this. I think that's always a good safety precaution. Lose an Oracle, rebuild it. Using a lot of Oracle energy, add an extra Oracle. Just if you want to play defensively safe. Now, it's 67 workers, more are building. Remember I said he wanted to keep an eye on that 4th? He sees a few drones there that doesn't really tell you that much. But as he sees more drones arriving, that's going to give MaNa very, very useful information. So I'm actually watching the game myself purely from MaNa's camera for the next minute or so, just to get a bit of insight. Seems like just, you know, Storm 4th base is the play. Overlord Speed's on the way for Lambo, and he's going to go Infestation Pit. That's interesting. So it looks like he is just going to go up to Lurk Attack. We're going to see both players kind of going towards the later stages.
It'd be cool to see. Obviously, it's been pretty aggressive stuff so far, very timing focused, very much so trying to get, you know, rush towards getting the game kind of finished up. But if these two both want to play into a longer game, it'd be very fun to see. Something of a different variety between the two here on Oceanborn. Storm and +2 both on the way from MaNa, so he keeps those upgrades rolling. Oracles are still cruising now on the map. And just here and there, a couple of links keep showing up from Lambo as he keeps checking in on what's going on. He's got an Overseer Scout into the main base as well. No energy for Contaminate yet, but maybe later down the line we'll see a little cheeky Contaminate or so to slow some stuff. That was such a great Contaminate back in that last game, stopping the Storm for a while, so... we do have Oracles activating that. You're going to try and get a cancel on this hatch, and there's no anti-air nearby, so it's going to succeed. So not a bad usage of the Oracle energy as Hydras are coming. The Hive is on the way. You mentioned the inevitable kind of lurker play here, and that's exactly what we see the structures leading towards at the moment.
I really wanted to see a second Robo for a while. I've just been itching, going, please build a second Robo, please build a second Robo. MaNa started one now. That's exactly what he needs, because he's going to need to up the Immortal count. Like, his first Immortal's out, but only having one Immortal, Hive's already almost finished. Like, you need more Immortals with this army. It's also really good that he didn't overinvest in the Stalkers. He went Blink, but it's 10 Stalkers. That's nothing. He's going for more high-value units. Zealots, very cheap, expendable counterattack, sort of run by units. The Immortals and the High Templar are gathering massive amounts of energy, building up that power ball. I do feel like against this style, and I've been talking about this a little bit, I do think you should always go for 3 or 4 Disruptors. I think it's a great move against the heavy Roach Hydra Lurker. It makes your gameplay much easier. But I do think a lot of these Protoss guys have said, no, we're confident. Like, we can do it with just Immortal Storm. Like, if we take the correct fights, have the right map control, we can easily do it with this army. So I'm confident that MaNa feels like he's got a lot of experience here. Cancels the 5th base. That's nice. It's only Stalker Oracle. He doesn't really have anything to laser beam those Zerglings. He's going to need to bring the rest of his force over here potentially to defend. Oracles do pull away.
Getting out of there, obviously, a lot of units coming through from Lambo, so expecting that as we do get a little catch in the stasis, but obviously nothing will come of that with MaNa already pushed all the way back. Two more High Templars, another Immortal Prism starts as well, so MaNa will look to be able to reinforce as we actually have Lurker drops already setting up from Lambo. Love that, already getting a little creative with how he's going to try and deal some damage, while for the majority of this he's going to be setting up a very defensive army.
This is a crazy push for MaNa. MaNa right now shoving, realizing Lurkers didn't morph defensively. Lambo just did not think he was under any threat. Oh god, engaging into Storm is very scary right now. That is a brutal set of Storms. High Templar are falling, but so are all the Lings and Roaches, not to mention the Hydras. Lurker drops in the back though. 10 probes have gone down. It's going to hit his main as well. MaNa's multitasking. He's about to get tested, or he can just ignore it and go for the throat. That's exactly what he's doing. MaNa still has one Storm available. He's got to make it worth it. It does push back Lambo temporarily. Lambo's low on lava, he's low on money. It's a set of Protoss units in his guts, but the Roach Hydra comes back. If he can just pick away a few of these units, he will be able to break it. Spines are coming in to join in as well. There is a Lurker inside his main base right now. MaNa has not dealt with it. He is dealing with the Lurker inside his natural, but at the same time, the big army on the front is what matters, and I think MaNa's trading a little bit too well. The Spines are falling. The 3 Immortals are just doing so much. 4th Immortal on the right side now as well. The Stalkers in their front, and MaNa with a decisive push. Lambo is like, I'm taking 5 bases. I'm building Spines and Spores on the edges. I'm going to be going for a Lurker drop. Lambo was so confident that that game was all about him killing MaNa and how do I break the Protoss. And then MaNa's just like, wait, you still don't have Lurkers? Oh, I can just push on your morphing Lurkers. And that killer instinct paid off big time. MaNa shoved through the middle. Lambo got caught being a little bit too greedy that game.
Very well played by MaNa. I mean, what a solid just kind of decision. Realized when he could go, saw the greed, saw the opportunity, and that killer instinct is still there. The guy that's been a pro player for so many years now, still showing it. I was just thinking that Lambo would be a really cool result for MaNa. I mean, his first round, don't forget, was Reno, so in this lower bracket, through a pretty, rough draw, even if Reno isn't Korean, he showed potential against Reno too. Now, take down Lambo. I mean, you're on a bit of a streak here. It'll be interesting to see how the lower bracket shapes up, of course, when the winner bracket players start dropping down for round 2 as well. So, yeah, cool to see as MaNa leads 2-1, map away from lower bracket round 2.
I mean, he could end up facing, I think it's like Showtime Spirit Loser in the next round if he wins.
Really?
And I think, and then it's definitely a Protoss after that because it would be the winner of, or very likely a Protoss because you got like Christian Askilles up against like, another one which could be like Clem or Harstem. And I think avoiding Zergs is generally good for MaNa. So if he beats Lambo here, this could be the dream run, like all the way to the finals potentially.
All right, dream run beginning here. Let's find out. We got to go in game for it, though. As we are going to go to Amphion. Man, we have not seen a lot of this map in the slightest. In the top left, our blue Protoss from Team Liquid is MaNa up 2-1.
Brave boy letting this map in. I think the player down here in the bottom left is probably pretty happy about it. He's usually pretty good at planning for these odd maps. Representing Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo. I love this map. I think you were saying yesterday you really like it as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's really fun. Seen so many different kind of games and so many weird positions to kind of play out from, just because people have been playing it in all sorts of ways. It's so far from being figured out, and that's obviously adding to the enjoyment of it at the minute.
I absolutely agree. It's got this kind of golden wall. Golden wall. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting confused between Golden Aura and Golden Wall now. I'm like, wait, which one's which?
You mean Golden Wall.
Yeah. Golden Wall had the same sort of separation, right? With like the gold minerals in the back. It was a bit different, but it's similar sort of vein of like a weird split path on the map and just lots of options available with mining out the minerals and pushing through those different angles. Now, I would imagine MaNa should probably full wall the right side and just mine out the minerals to take a third on the left, maybe? Some people actually just take the 4th base on the left. They'll take the 3rd on the low ground, and then they'll go for the 4th below the main base. I definitely think pushing to that left side of the map at some point is great. And a lot of Protoss players will actually take that as their 3rd and then just wall off the ramp towards the middle gold base, which I think is a very fantastic way to just lock down your little corner of the map, because then if Zerg wants to get aggressive, it's a full wall on your natural, it's a full wall on your 3rd, and a set of rocks guarding the other entrance. So it's a very nice turtley setup for a 3-base Protoss.
I think there's just once you get those bases up, like, then so much potential to expand forwards. So many possibilities. We'll see what the choices are here from the two of them. It's a Stargate from MaNa, so he's not going for anything aside from that Stargate early. He wants to get those Oracles up. He wants to take that control, so he's making sure to do that game in and game out for the moment. Not mixing up too much there. Do you think we see a big change up from Lambo here in terms of kind of the unit comp or the setup or anything, Pig, in these early stages?
I'm really curious. I really feel like I'm just watching with an open mind and just going, what are you going to show me. You know, I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of going, let's see. So the adepts will come forward. It's an early stalker. That's MaNa wanting to deny the scouting a bit. And he's even hiding it towards the back. So he's trying to like bait that overlord in a little bit, hoping that it doesn't see that it's a stalker popping out, which is cool.
Yeah, anything he can kind of hide away is neat as the Oracle, the Warp Gate going through, the few drones minding away on the low ground, our hatchery, setting up on the natural as that link speed is about to be done. So a few lings will pop, a couple queens are on the way, and we are just going to have ourselves another gate at the wall from MaNa before he gets run by or anything, just making sure that that's going to be a neat, tidy wall off.
Oh, and he's baited the overlord in. MaNa. His stalker now shows itself after Lambo runs forward, and I think with the Oracle about to be there. Oh, actually, he's not got the Oracle in position, so he pulls it back. Good move. Gets the high ground vision, and that there is a dead overlord. Well played. MaNa, nice little maneuver. He goes, oh, Twilight Robo afterwards. He's going to do Archon drop follow-up. Old school, baby. Telling you, Christian is he's exciting people. He's getting people motivated. He's saying, guys, go back a few years. Bring back the old Archon drop. It's still good.
Bring it back like it used to be. Oracle dives in here. A couple of drones already go down, so already starting off decently with the Oracle. It takes a few hits. That is the only Oracle because we're so fast to the Twilight and the Robo facilities, so you've got to be very careful with it. Yeah, the speed that you set up into that with is pretty huge. As you mentioned it, Archons, here it is, Templar Archives. That's how we build into them Archons. So we get that going. And a couple extra gates building up as well.
Supply block looming for MaNa does put a pylon down, so we'll limit that. But we'll lose a little bit of pro production time. And this is, of course, a very quick Archon drop before taking the third. Lambo. Trochoran's only now starting. Bit of a greedy start for him. 5 queens, 6-1 building. Guess he's got spores in 2 of his bases, so he's all right. But definitely pushing the greedy envelope a little bit. And I feel like if you can defend this really cleanly, the Archon drop without losses, great, you're miles ahead, but it might be an unnecessary risk for the Zerg player.
Yeah, that's a really good point as the Hexer Temple Warp in, so it's going to be Archon drop time here in just a moment. Rotoran finishing, Les halfway done. How many units will Lambo pop out straight away? Only just a few more lings and a few drones, so there we go. 4 roaches do start up, and we get that starting right about now. Away we go.
Ooh, Queen's well positioned. Archon's pull back to deal with the Zerglings. Being on the edge, you can always kind of pick up to get out of here, but the Queens could push forward to punish you. But pushing forward means they get focused. Prism kind of baiting them. Good micro by MaNa here. Gets 2 queens, a bunch of Zerglings. That unit's lost tab looks very pretty for the Protoss fans. That is a very nice one. And he's got stasis traps blocking both 4th bases. Hello, MaNa. Looking very nice. Unfortunately, his probing has been very weak this game. He's supply blocked once again. And because of that, he's miles behind against a Lambo who opened up very greedy. So even with great trading, MaNa finds himself behind. And this is kind of the classic MaNa PvZ conundrum. Excellent tactics, and his macro is just not quite as tight as the top PvZ players.
Well, Roach speed comes up, the infestation bit finishing, so Lambo is going to go and just get this going. And get this all settled here. As we get ourselves the hatchery dropping down as well. The few extra roaches all coming through. And these Archons would love to still try and get a little bit more value out of themselves for a little bit, so...
Ooh, last second save, nicely done. Oh, the redrop's a little dangerous there, but grabs a few more Zerglings. Oh, he's still blocking it. Oh, is he gonna get it? He gets the drone.
Good job.
Tactics master, man. He's so good at these little tactics, and I feel like this is when MaNa's in his element, is when he's screwing with you. Oh, if he gets another one. Okay, nice spore trick. Lambo blocks at that time.
Oh no, he's still here. Oh, no activation.
Yeah. I also was like, dude, no way. But stuck on 3 base is Lambo. He's playing Swarm Host. Oh, cool. Swarm Host Nidus is meant to be really good against non-blink styles. I was talking about this a lot yesterday, and I was wondering why no one was trying it against Cristiano. But Lambo's going to bring it out here, and I think it's amazing on this map with that whole walled off left side below the main base. He's going to go straight for the natural right now. He's going to go to the Reaper ledge area for his first launch.
He's going to have a good position to launch in from, right? I mean, he's going to be able to get real deep in with these locusts, so in they go. The Prism will give you a little bit of a heads up. There's a lot of high-tech units there, but with Prism juggling, we should be okay, and we can storm them down with the Archons.
Well done.
3 locusts land. Wow. doesn't hurt anything.
Well, Draining Storm is something though. Yeah, that's the only storms he has, right? So it's you've used your energy. It doesn't regenerate as soon as those locusts do. It's a good hold. I love the choice for MaNa to do that, but he's not warped in new High Templar. So now he's got to kind of find the next Nidus and delay. But that Nidus is still up in the original position as well. He's going to find it now. At the same time, Niduses are in the top right side. There's Niduses going up everywhere, and MaNa can't possibly stay on top of all of it.
No, you can only deny so many. I mean, he's done a good job on the left-hand side. Now it's time for him to try and find some others. But yeah, you can only do so many. This one is still up. The Prism is going to see this wave of Locusts moving forward once again. The Archons will drop down to go for the Nidus. Some of the Locusts turned around. This Immortal realizes it's not the place to be. And we are now going to right-click a Nexus. Super Battery should not be enough to save that.
No, you got to run probes as well, because otherwise you can lose so many in like the blink of an eye. It does pull them away at the last second. He'll instantly rebuild it. Losing a Nexus is not that bad against Swarmos, but it's the spiral, it's the snowball, and that's what we're worried about, because there's already Lurker down and Hive on the way, 72 drones, and I really feel like MaNa's supply blocks, I've put him in a very hard position in this game. Oh, is High Templar in the open in the middle? That's unfortunate. Oh no, losing a High for a couple, 3 High Templar go down, I think including one that had Psy Storm on it. That is a real bummer. Yeah,
that is just really sucky as MaNa. Well, he's going to be facing the full Zerg onslaught now, and he's going to struggle to have what he really needs up against it. These Locusts do make the right turn in towards this army. Couple Storms coming down again, but especially after losing High Templar, we are consistently, it feels like, on a problem when it comes to Storms. Like, it just doesn't feel like we always have enough. MaNa currently faces supply blocks again as he rebuilds a Nexus, but kind of just hard stuck on 3 bases. Zealot counterattacks are nice, because Lambo does not have a ton of units to go and deal with counterattacks like this, but I mean, this is quite costly for MaNa as well, because it's not like he's super rich to just endlessly send Zealots around the map.
I love the top right base. I was going to say, I really want to see a corner base for MaNa, because it's just hard to be everywhere at once with this kind of slow Roach Swarmos comp. So often you're like, okay, if I lose a Nexus, at least I have another one up. And it's often just going to go unnoticed by Lambo in this scenario. So MaNa, I mean, he's supply blocked so much in this game, though. He's again supply blocked. The Void Ray going down is a bummer, because now those Niduses can push up that left side again. He's just going to go for a shove. The fact that the Swarmos have to come home defensively, this is a good move just for forcing those Locusts out defensively. Question is, does he fight them or pull back? He goes for the fight, picks up the Archon to save it. The Immortals on that right side, pretty solid. The Immortals looking pretty good. One of them does go down, though. The Roach Hydra, good micro by Lambo, avoiding standing and fighting. The Storm whiffs the first one, but the drones are dying. Zealots are on top of the Swarmos in the natural. He has to fight right now. MaNa is forcing his hand.
That was a beautiful Storm on the right side. The Swarmos have been having a bad time. We only have 8 of them left alive, and well, MaNa, his High Templars again a little bit exposed. We do get a Storm off, though, to hit so many of the Hydras. Now MaNa's going to run up the ramp into the natural. This is a huge deal. We have so many Overlords here as well. That actually could be worthwhile targeting them down. If you get rid of them quickly, you get rid of the potential there to rebuild. And MaNa needs to save these Archons, doing his best. One of them very low, it just dubs back through. He actually did pick it up. He saves it, gets another warp in. We're running out of Archons, so we're running out of some of the splash here, but doesn't matter. The Immortals are too much anyways. And MaNa is good to get the victory for the 3-1. This was looking really quite bad for him. And he just finds that. I feel like we've seen this so much this weekend, Pig. The moment to go.